Sometimes, we all have a bit of bad luck. For Carrie McCoy, her unlucky moment was the 1974 recession. Fresh out of fashion merchandising school and ready to take on the world, she soon discovered that no one in her field was hiring. Determined to find work anywhere she could, she turned to an employment agency and stumbled into an industry that would change her life forever. The agency connected her to a company called Betsy Ross Flag Girl, a flag retailer in Dallas, Texas. For the next 6 months, Carrie cut her teeth selling flags and shaking hands, learning the skills that would form the foundation of her career to come. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Luckily, her mother had an idea.
I was kind of living there by myself and kind of depressed, and I drove home. And while I was here, my mother, being a mother, and she said, well, what if you came here and started selling flags? And I mean, my light bulb went off. My mother and father are entrepreneurs at heart. They've always owned little small businesses. And so she thinks like that. She said, call around and find out where the Secretary of State buys flags. Call around and find out where the school district buys flags. So I call up and I ask. Nobody's buying flags from anybody in Little Rock, Arkansas. They're all buying them out of state. I'm thinking, well, here's a niche market. Okay, so I go back, learn all I can about flags, move home, and with $400, I found Arkansas Flag and Banner and began to sell them door to door.
That's right, folks. In 1975, with just $400, Carrie founded Arkansas Flag and Banner. Door by door, order by order, the business slowly grew. From in-person sales to telemarketing and mail orders, she did it all. And Carrie's persistence paid off. After 9 years of hustle, Flag and Banner finally became her full-time job. Along the way, she set up shop in a vacant rental home owned by her mother and even hired her first few employees. When the Gulf War broke out in 1990, patriotic fervor swept the country and the flag business boomed. Flag and Banner soon needed more space to grow, and Carrie set her sights on downtown Little Rock. Little did she know, she was about to embark on one of the most ambitious and rewarding projects of her career. On her daily commute, Carrie noticed a grand old red brick building overlooking the highway. The building spoke to her in a way that she could not explain, but she knew that she had found Flag and Banner a home. That building was Taborian Hall. Built in 1916, Taborian Hall is steeped in history. The building was once a pillar of Little Rock's West 9th Street Black Business District, housing everything from a basement speakeasy to a pool hall and a pharmacy. But the building's crown jewel is on the 3rd floor, the Dreamland Ballroom. The Dreamland Ballroom was at one time a premier performance hall and was part of the famous Chitlin Circuit, a network of venues that booked black performers during the Jim Crow segregation era. Over the years, its stage featured a whole host of legendary entertainers from Duke Ellington to Ella Fitzgerald, Etta James, B.B. King, and more. However, in 1991, the building was in a state of complete disrepair.
I often say that this building picked me. It called to me, and I became borderline obsessed. And then once I got here, it yelled at me. And so I would come down here and I would sneak in the front door, and there was debris everywhere. But one day I finally did make my way up to the 3rd floor, and the roof was off and the sun was shining and birds were flying around, and I'm standing under the balcony in the back and I'm looking across this chasm, and I can just see the Dreamland Ballroom stage. And I mean, to this day, the goosebumps I get are just, it was incredible.
Slowly but surely, the old building came back to life, and the business grew too. In 1995, Arkansas Flag and Banner embraced the internet and rebranded as simply FlagandBanner.com. In 2001, a retail showroom was added on the 1st floor, offering patriotic decorations, Razorback swag, and of course, flags. In 2009, Carrie founded the Friends of Dreamland, a nonprofit dedicated to restoring the ballroom to its former glory. The group soon launched its popular fundraiser and dance competition, Dancing into Dreamland. In 2018, the organization received a major boost when it was awarded a $500,000 grant through the National Park Service, which it used to fund the installation of an elevator, making the space fully ADA compliant. Not one to rest on her success, Carrie has also gone on to expand her role as a community leader. In 2004, she became an early blogger. In 2014, she started Brave magazine, and in 2016, she launched Up in Your Business, a podcast that shares stories of entrepreneurship, resilience, and the American dream. Ever with an eye on the future, the business recently expanded to a satellite office in Miami, Florida, and also acquired the online retailer OurCornerMarket.com. So, what's next for Flag and Banner?
It's so funny you asked me that because one of my girlfriends just came in and she said, I hear you're opening a bar/tapas restaurant. And I said, yes. She said, I've really got to talk to you. So yes, my next venture is I'm going to reduce the size of our showroom and I'm going to put a kind of a bar and a tapas restaurant because I think that's what 9th Street needs. That's what 9th Street was. It was a community of people. And I see a resurgence down here on 9th Street, and I see a resurgence in downtown Little Rock. And I think this building was originally a lot of different things. And I kind of want to make it a lot of different things. We've got the Dreamland Ballroom on the 3rd floor. We've got Arkansas Flag and Banner on the 2nd floor. And I'd really like to expand the public space so you could come in, meet with friends, have a cocktail or a soda, and peruse some of the Dreamland Ballroom and the Taborian Hall's history and the history of 9th Street.
50 years later, what began as one woman selling flags door to door has grown into a thriving family business and a beloved Arkansas institution. As Flag and Banner celebrates its golden anniversary, one thing is certain: Carrie McCoy is just getting started.
This is not the end. There's never an end to my creative business. This is just another beginning.